Let's start with some keys to victory for both teams. Looking at the Houston Texans, they have to utilize the depth that they have in the backfield. The Texans boast a strong group of running backs like Lamar Miller, Tyler Ervin, and rookie Deonta Foreman. The best way to help out a rookie quarterback making his first start on a short week, and the best way to help out a struggling offensive line, is by running the football. Watson's ability as an athlete should also help create additional rushing lanes for those guys to have success. Speaking of Deshaun Watson, I think the Texans should speed it up to slow it down. And what I mean by that is rookie quarterbacks tend to thrive in quick tempo type situations like the 2-minute offense. It quickens the pace, it gets the play call quicker, and it also quickens the decisions for the quarterback, especially a quarterback that is coming out of a spread offense like Clemson, where he ran up tempo all the time. All of which can make Deshaun Watson much more efficient, gain some early confidence, and early confidence he'll gain in his offensive line and his protection as a whole. This is a way to get the game to slow down for him as it moves on, which would be beneficial for this Texans football team. Defensively, when you have a J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney on your team and you come away with 0 sacks in week 1, it's imperative that you find a way to get to the quarterback. The good news is that they're facing an offensive line that has some of the same question marks that they do as an offense, so it'll be crucial that the Texans turn up the heat this week against Cincinnati. Moving over to the Bengals in this ball game, they're facing a rookie quarterback, and it'll be important for them to be able to dictate the terms. And by that, I'm talking about speeding up the decisions for Watson by forcing him to go where you want him to go with the football. The best way to do that is to apply nonstop pressure all game long. You can't allow a rookie quarterback to gain confidence early, keep him under duress and frustrated throughout the game. Andy Dalton struggled mightily last week versus the Baltimore Ravens, and I do understand that week 1 is essentially the 5th preseason game, and Dalton is a good player that'll figure things out pretty quickly. But in this ball game against a team that's looking to notch their first sack of the season, it'll be important to get him into a rhythm early. Get Dalton out on the move, switch up that launch spot for him, or like you would for Deshaun Watson, help him out by establishing the running game first. But above all that, Dalton has to be able to take better care of the football. And to help Dalton do that, I think offensive coordinator Ken Zampese has to avoid being overly creative with play calling and personnel groupings in this ball game. It's a short week, the offensive line isn't where you want it to be, and you're facing an aggressive pressure style defense. So you don't have to get too cute, you just have to go out there and execute play after play. Keeping it simple can help you get that done. The biggest X factor in this ball game for the Houston Texans is an obvious one. Their offensive line has to play significantly better if they want to have a chance to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw last week the Texans offensive line look like they just got out there together on that particular Sunday without any practice. And that's not to say that you can't go out there and play with pride. We saw the Minnesota Vikings get out there against the New Orleans Saints having not played with each other all offseason in the preseason, and they were able to play an outstanding game. So at some point, pride has to kick in. This Texans offensive line has to do a better job up front if they want to have a shot. And for Cincinnati, I think they have to find ways to exploit the matchup that is heavily in their favor, their tight end position. I think they're deep at tight end. They have guys like Tyler Eifert, Tyler Kroft, Ryan Hewitt is an H-back that can also get out there and do things in a short passing game. So if they can find ways to exploit the middle of that defense, exploit those linebackers in coverage, those safeties with their tight ends, the Bengals have a great chance of slowing down the game for Andy Dalton and getting their passing game off to a great start against the Texans. I like the Texans in this ball game, and I believe, quite honestly, defensively, they didn't play a bad game last week versus Jacksonville. They were able to get off the field. They actually slowed down the ground game. I know Fournette had over 100 yards, but it took 26 carries. The problem was they could not get to Blake Bortles and put him on the ground. I think that changes this week versus a team like Cincinnati that has an offensive line that's very similar to their own. And offensively, look for the running game to be a big reason why they win this one versus Cincinnati. It's a short week. They're going to keep things very condensed for Deshaun Watson, but he will play much better because he has a full week of prep. He's also a talented player, and I think he'll be much more efficient with the football and make key throws on third down to keep this offense on pace. So I see the Texans going into Cincinnati and winning on a short week with the rookie quarterback.